Okay, so are you ready to dive deep?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. Today we're going to be looking at the Yi Jing, specifically Hexagram 13.
Tong Ren.
Yeah, Tong Ren or Fellowship. And the Yi Jing, just to recap, I guess, for people who are new to this, is an ancient Chinese text, and it's kind of like a roadmap or like a guidebook for navigating life's ups and downs. And each hexagram is made up of these trigrams, which are sets of 3 lines, and those represent the different forces kind of at play in the universe. And they offer a lot of really cool insights. So are you ready to decode some ancient wisdom with me?
Always. Let's do it.
Okay.
So Tong Ren is really interesting because it gets to the heart of how we relate to each other, how we cooperate, the whole idea of human connection.
Okay.
And we see at the top of the hexagram, the trigram for heaven, Qian,
Right.
which represents leadership, this idea of like the greater good, striving for something bigger than ourselves. And then underneath that, we have the trigram for fire, violet, which symbolizes illumination. So like bringing light to things, but also connection.
Right.
And when those two forces come together, they paint this picture of unity and cooperation.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like this beautiful image of 2 people sharing the same heart.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
2 people sharing the same heart. I'm going to have to remember that one.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It really speaks to, that sense of like working towards a common goal, like you're totally in sync.
It makes me think of like when you're working with someone and you're just clicking, like you're on the same wavelength, you're feeding off of each other's energy.
Yeah, exactly.
And the results are like so much better than either of you could have achieved like by yourselves right
Absolutely. That's synergy. That's Tong Ren in action. That's what it looks like when it's, when it's working well.
Okay. Wow. So that's cool. So not only do we have that, but we also have the actual text, right?
Yeah, the text of the hexagram itself, it kind of reinforces that idea of synergy and positive outcomes, right? It really speaks to that. So there's one line, it's beautiful. It says, guided by a wise person, one can freely move east or west. And it really highlights the importance of mentorship, right? Of having someone, that's been there before who can illuminate the path forward.
Yeah, it makes me think of like when you're facing a really tough decision and you just kind of need that outside perspective, like someone to kind of bounce ideas off of.
Exactly. And that's what a wise person, a mentor, can do for us. They can help us see things more clearly.
And I feel like the text even goes further than that.
Yeah, it does.
It talks about, marriages being successful, travelers returning home safely, lost items being found. It's almost like it's presenting this like picture of a smooth and happy life.
It does paint a very optimistic picture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily interpret it as a promise of, a problem-free existence.
All right.
I think it's more about emphasizing the power of harmony. Like when you're in sync with yourself, with the people around you, when everyone is kind of pulling in the same direction, it creates this momentum that helps overcome obstacles.
Okay.
And you're more likely to achieve what you set out to do.
That makes sense. So it's not about avoiding the challenges altogether, but about like facing them with that kind of shared purpose and unity.
Exactly.
But it's really cool.
What?
Some of those details in the text are so specific.
Right.
It's not just saying like lost items will be found. It's like documents or glasses being under something. That's so relatable, right? Like, come on.
Right. It's amazing. It's like, thousands of years ago, people were misplacing their glasses, just like we do today.
Exactly.
It's like these little details, they make the I Ching feel so surprisingly relevant to our lives today,
Yeah, it's wild.
Despite all the changes in the world, human nature, it's kind of a constant, isn't it?
Yeah. So we have this overarching theme of fellowship and unity, but each individual line in the hexagram like kind of offers a different nuance to that core message.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth there.
What really struck me was the line, fellowship in the open country indicates progress.
Oh, that's a good one.
I don't know why, but it just makes me think of like setting out on a journey.
Yeah.
With a clear path ahead, but maybe not knowing exactly where you're going to end up.
Yeah. That sense of possibility.
Yeah. What's your take on that?
It's interesting because it kind of contrasts with other lines that speak to the need for patience and strategic action. Like there's one that says, laying an ambush in the thicket, climbing up the high hill, for 3 years there is no rising. So it's not just about blindly rushing forward together,
Right.
Tong Ren is also about knowing when to be bold and when to be cautious, when to push ahead and when to kind of wait for the right moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of complexity there. It's like that tension between action and stillness.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Okay. And then there's this other one that really got me.
Which one's that?
Fellowship with men in the meadow. First weeping and wailing and then laughing. Great armies can meet together.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a powerful one.
It's just such a vivid image. But like, what's going on there emotionally? Like, what is that trying to tell us?
I think it's speaking to the full spectrum of human experience within fellowship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even when you're surrounded by people who share your values, your goals,
Mm-hmm.
there will inevitably be disagreements, frustrations, moments of sadness or anger.
Right.
But true fellowship isn't about avoiding those difficult emotions.
Mm-hmm.
It's about navigating them together. Knowing that ultimately the bond is strong enough to weather the storms and emerge even stronger on the other side.
So it's not about some idyllic, conflict-free utopia.
No, not at all.
It's about facing the complexities of human interaction head on.
Absolutely.
But with that shared purpose and that strength of like knowing that you have people who have your back.
Exactly. That's the key, isn't it? That shared purpose.
Yeah. Okay, so that's really powerful. Before we move on to the next part, I just want to take a moment to reflect on these lines that we've discussed. Is there anything that particularly resonates with you? Any image or phrase that you just keep coming back to?
You know what? I think what stands out for me is that juxtaposition of weeping and laughing. It's so human, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like even in the midst of great joy, there can be this undercurrent of sorrow,
Mm-hmm.
And even in the darkest moments, a glimmer of hope can break through.
I love that. It just speaks to the richness and depth of the I Ching, right? There's always more to uncover, more to learn.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Okay. So I think that's a good place to pause for now. And when we come back, we'll delve into how we can actually apply these Tong Ren principles to our lives today.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right. See you in a bit.
See ya. Yeah, it really is like this rich tapestry. It's it's acknowledging all of the light and shadow,
right,
the joy and sorrow, and reminding us that it's all connected,
I love that. Okay, so how do we take something as ancient and kind of seemingly abstract as the I Ching and apply it to our lives?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
Right.
It's one thing to appreciate the poetry of it.
Yeah.
But how do we actually put this wisdom into practice?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think a good place to start is with relationships.
Okay.
Because the hexagram, it describes ideal love as being like fish in water.
Ooh.
So what do you think that tells us about how Tong Ren kind of plays out in our connections?
I mean, it just makes me think of ease, fluidity, being so in tune with someone.
Right.
That you just move together effortlessly, almost instinctively.
Yeah.
Like you're navigating those currents of life together.
Yeah, beautifully said.
And I feel like it goes beyond just romantic relationships, right?
Absolutely.
Tong Ren can apply to any kind of partnership, whether it's collaborations at work, friendships, family dynamics.
Yeah, it's about creating that sense of understanding where you can communicate openly and honestly, and you're working towards common goals.
It's giving me flashbacks to projects where everyone's just in the zone and everybody's contributing their own unique skills and perspectives and celebrating each other's successes. That energy is so powerful.
It really is. And you know what's interesting?
What?
The text even touches upon the connection between our emotional well-being and physical health.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. One line says, the illness is light and can be cured soon. But it also says to pay attention to potential problems with the heart, head, and lungs.
Okay, so obviously we're not medical professionals or anything.
Right.
But that connection between emotional harmony and physical health, I feel like that's something that's becoming more and more recognized these days.
Absolutely. It's like the ancients were already tuned into this idea of the mind-body connection, you know. The heart, the head, the lungs, these are all organs that are deeply affected by stress and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So Tong Ren, with its emphasis on unity and cooperation and these positive relationships, could almost be seen as a form of preventative medicine, a way to cultivate inner peace and promote well-being.
Okay, so wait. So by nurturing our connections, by supporting each other, by fostering a sense of harmony in our relationships, we're not just creating a more pleasant environment.
Right.
We're actually contributing to our own health and longevity.
Exactly. Pretty amazing, isn't it?
That is pretty wild.
So, of course, no matter how harmonious our relationships are, we're bound to encounter some disagreements.
Oh, for sure.
Conflicts, right. It's just part of being human.
It's inevitable.
But even here, Tong Ren offers us some guidance. It emphasizes the importance of seeking peace in all matters.
So it's not about avoiding conflict altogether, which I feel like is probably impossible.
Pretty much, yeah.
But like approaching those conflicts with a different mindset.
Yeah, with that spirit of reconciliation.
Yeah.
Finding that common ground and working towards a resolution that, benefits everyone involved.
I feel like that's where the two people sharing the same heart image comes in, right?
Exactly. Like, imagine approaching a disagreement with that kind of shared purpose in mind.
Yeah.
It just makes it so much easier to find a compromise, to see the other person's perspective, to maintain the integrity of that relationship.
It's like remembering that you're on the same team even when you're disagreeing.
Yeah, exactly.
And that shared purpose can help you, weather those storms and come out stronger.
Absolutely.
But, okay, this isn't just about our personal relationships, though, right?
Yeah.
This principle of Tong Ren, can it be applied to, like, larger scale conflicts as well?
Absolutely. Whether it's political disagreements, social justice issues, even like global challenges.
Right.
I think those same principles apply.
So how do we take something like this and apply it to these, like, big, complex, real-world problems?
Well, I think the first step is recognizing that interconnectedness.
Okay.
Like remembering that two people sharing the same heart idea.
Yeah.
But on a broader scale.
Okay.
It's understanding that we're all part of this web of life.
Right.
Our actions have an impact on each other, and we have a shared responsibility to create a more harmonious world.
It's like shifting from me versus them to we're all in this together.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
And, I mean, that's not to say that we have to agree on everything.
Of course not.
Or pretend that conflicts don't exist.
Right.
But it's about how we approach those differences.
Yeah.
With empathy, a willingness to listen, to understand, and that belief that through dialogue and cooperation, we can actually find solutions.
Exactly. And it might sound idealistic.
Yeah.
But I genuinely believe it's possible.
That's a powerful vision. And it definitely aligns with, the spirit of Tong Ren. But let's be real for a second. It's not always easy to maintain that sense of unity,
No, you're right. It takes effort.
Especially in a world that feels so divided these days.
It does. It takes a conscious effort to challenge our own assumptions, to build bridges instead of walls. But I think that Yi Jing and Tong Ren in particular, they offer us a roadmap.
Okay.
A reminder of the power of connection and what's possible when we choose to work together.
I love that. It's like an invitation to tap into that ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
And apply it to the challenges we face today. And speaking of challenges, the Yi Jing also acknowledges that sometimes, despite our best efforts, things don't always go as planned.
Right. And Tong Ren isn't about guaranteeing success. It's not about, avoiding difficulty.
Right.
In fact, there are lines in the hexagram that speak to the need for patience, strategic action, and even accepting setbacks as part of the process.
There's that line, laying in ambush in the thicket, climbing up the high hill. For 3 years, there is no rising.
Yeah. That's a powerful image, isn't it?
It is. And it's kind of a reminder that sometimes progress is slow. And we need to wait for the right moment. Like maybe that's part of the process too. It's like saying sometimes the best thing to do is wait.
Yeah.
Observe, gather information, build your strength, and then make a move when the timing's right.
Exactly. And it really highlights that the importance of discernment, Tong Ren isn't about just blindly following the crowd.
Right.
Or like rushing into action without thinking it through. It's about being aligned, with the right people, the right causes, and like we were saying, the right timing.
So it's not just fellowship for fellowship's sake.
No.
It's about being selective.
Yeah.
And making sure that the people you're surrounding yourself with, the things that you're putting your energy towards, that those are really aligned with your values and your goals.
Oh, I couldn't have said it better myself. And I think it brings us back to that core message of Tong Ren. Like, we're not meant to do this alone. We're meant to connect, to collaborate, to support each other, and really achieve those great things together.
It's like going back to that image of two people sharing the same heart, cutting through gold. Like if we think of that gold as the challenges, the obstacles, the impossible dreams that we all have.
Right.
It's like Tong Ren is suggesting that with the right people, with that shared purpose, that unified effort, we can overcome anything.
Absolutely. We can cut through that gold together. And it makes me wonder,
Yeah.
what gold are you trying to cut through? You know, what are those things in your life that feel a little too big to tackle on your own?
Ooh, that's a good question for everybody listening to.
It is, yeah.
And it kind of makes me think of the next question, which is,
What's that?
who are your fellow travelers? Like, who are those people in your life that share your values, your vision, your passion,
And their goals.
who can support you on that journey?
Because, like we've been talking about, exploring this idea of Tong Ren, we really don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
There's strength in numbers. There's wisdom in collaboration.
And so much joy in that shared experience.
It really is. Like reaching out, building those connections,
Yeah.
fostering that fellowship. That's where the magic happens.
You know, I feel like this deep dive has been so insightful.
Good.
I really feel like I have a much better understanding of Tong Ren now,
Awesome.
and I can see how it applies to my own life. You know, not just in my personal relationships, but also in how I approach, like, the bigger picture, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like those bigger issues that we face as a society.
Yeah, like the gold that we need to cut through collectively.
Exactly. So for everyone listening, I really encourage you to, like, explore the I Ching further. It's just, there's so much wisdom in there. It can offer guidance and insight.
Yeah, for all sorts of situations.
You might even find a hexagram that speaks to something specific you're going through right now.
You never know. Yeah.
And remember, it's not about getting easy answers or, you know, being told exactly what to do.
No, it's a conversation.
It's more like a conversation.
Yeah, God.
Or like a tool for reflection, maybe.
Exactly. And for inspiration.
It's inviting us to really think about its meaning.
Yeah, engage with it.
And how it applies to our lives in our own unique ways.
And who knows, maybe in doing so, we'll discover a new path forward.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, a new way of being in the world and a deeper sense of connection.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Keep exploring. Keep connecting.
Yeah.
And keep seeking that Tong Ren spirit in all that you do.
I like that.